First, when will the Russians experience tank hunger?
What is tank hunger? The Russians will be able to pull out about 1,000 more units a year from the depots and put them into service next year. And this is in 2024, 2025. In 2026, there will not be those thousands of units a year, but probably 800. In 2027, 600. This is considering the fact that the war will continue. And now, look at the losses when there are hostilities of the intensity that are going on today, yesterday, and the day before yesterday. Here you go.
1,000 units a year. We once calculated that the number of new T-90M tanks being produced is somewhere around 60 a year.
What I mean by that is pull out.
So you're saying that they can restore about 900 tanks a year? That's what they can supply?
Well, it's a little bit different. They can bring the number of T-90A and T-90M units to about 100, or they can reduce it to almost zero. Why? Because if they don't have access to all the components, such as thermal imaging sensors.
But the Chinese ones seem to have been set up now, and the French have been gone for a long time.
I understand that very well, but again, China is...
That is, it depends on the political situation.
A lot depends on... and then, look, there are about 200 units of T-80B that they will convert into T-80B VMs. Another 200 units will simply upgrade to this level, and the same for the T-72s, that is 800, and the T-62s of Chita, or rather the Atamanivsky Armored Repair Plant, will produce 10, at most, 13 vehicles per month. That is about 1,000 vehicles.
And here's another question. There are active talks now, and not only talks, about restoring the Omsk tank building plant and trying to put new T-80s into production. Not restoration, but new ones from scratch. What can you say about this? Is it realistic at all?
You understand?
I'm sorry. They even showed footage of preparation for production from scratch, and they are already manufacturing components for gas turbine engines. That is, they can already produce engines in some small series.
They can restore them because they have working design documentation and so on and so forth. Everything will rest on the engine's life. It is possible to make an engine with a service life of 500 hours, as it was required by law at the time, and you can produce engines with a service life of 150 hours. This is also an engine. This could make sense if the tank is to live there for 2 or 3 months on the front line, but it is not economically viable to operate engines with a service life of 150 hours. It's not efficient to send them back to the factory after a certain number of hours and have them overhauled.
These engines, they are already being manufactured on a certain scale. They are being installed on BVMs, and they came to us as trophies. Can we somehow examine the quality by this method?
Only Soviet-made engines are used on BVMs, the ones that are being overhauled. These are only overhauled Soviet engines. They still have a stock of engines. Why? Because the BVM has an engine with a capacity of 1,200 horsepower. That is, they will only install some new spare parts.
They're pushing it to 1,200, right?
In fact, it was in the database with 1,100. Then, back in Soviet times, it was forced up to 1,200. And you can feel it. The vehicle is very good. What is good is that the gearboxes are of a different size. There are only 4 gears forward and 1 gear back. They are of a different size and they allow you to transfer this power. The gearboxes used for these speeds are bigger and transfer power.
But coming back to the T-72, could it be that they will run out of stocks of reasonable T-72s, i.e. T-72Bs in their stockpiles, and we will no longer see T-72s?
This process, that they will run out of them, is long-term. I would not want us to fight so much.
That is, one should not count on them running out of stock.
Russia will definitely not run out of tanks in the next 3 years.
Well, in fact, even we are putting something forward, so Russia is far from that.